else? Sacrifice? Anything else? Simple question. This is a basic question. Everybody probably knows cross. I'm not asking any difficult. What does the first thing that come up in your mind? Not the second or the third thing. Punishment, yes. Anything else? What is anything more? I think we are all probably the correct thing. The first thing that when we think of cross comes about death and punishment, pain and sacrifice and all these things. But the cross that Jesus Christ is talking about here is not the same cross as he is carrying. That's why he says a word here. For a man shall, let us read Matthew 16 verse 24. And take up his cross. The important bit is his. Yavani siluvu valu vettukoni. Not others' cross. Not the cross of Jesus Christ. The cross of Jesus Christ is unique. Nobody can have the same cross as Jesus Christ. And the cross of you is separate to the cross of your husband or your wife or your children or your parents. Everybody's cross is very, very different. We are very good in pointing out other people's cross. Hey, this person did not do this. He failed in this. But that's why Jesus Christ clearly says, you need to take up your cross. But take up your cross. Why should we take up your own cross? Let us turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Why should we take up our own cross? 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. Yeah. But such as is common to man. But God is faithful. He will not let you suffer above that you are able. So what does it mean? Everybody's temptation, everybody's trial, everybody's cross is different. The cross that I have to carry is not the same that you have to carry. We all think of Jesus Christ's cross. But Jesus Christ's cross, nobody in the history or the universe cannot carry. Only Jesus Christ can carry. That's why he says there is no name like Jesus Christ. It's the same. Your cross is different. That is why Jesus Christ very clearly says, I know your ability. I know how much you can take. So that's why Jesus Christ gives different cross through different people. That's why when you look in the world, there are so many missionaries who lost their wives, children, but they were still pressing on Lord Jesus Christ. But their cross is different. For us, a small amount of trial in our life, little bit of ill health, that's it. Our faith will be shattered. We will forget about God. We'll run after doctors. We'll run after this person and that person. So God knows our ability. So that is why we cannot compare each other crosses. Everybody is different. The calling I have is different. The calling you have is different. But important thing is we all have a calling. We all have a talent. We all have a gift. Every single one of you here is precious in the eyes of God. There is nobody greater than the other. Everybody are equal in the eyes of God. So that's why Jesus Christ says, you take up your own cross. You take up your own cross. That is very important. First thing is, we need to understand that fundamental thing before we look at cross. So the question today is, what is your cross? Do you know your own cross? Every Sunday you are coming. Every Sunday you are taking part in the Lord's table. But Jesus Christ is saying, you have to take up your cross. What is your cross? What is that the purpose? Jesus Christ came to this world to go on the cross. That is his purpose. But his cross is different. His cross is to take up the sin, punishment, and all these things that we talked about. But when we look at the cross, our cross, instead of having death, it should have hope. when we look at the cross, instead of having sadness, it should be joyful. Because without cross, that's what the worship time is, isn't it? All the worship time, what did we worship? The brother was sharing. Instead of the bulls, he sacrificed. Instead of the sheep, instead of the birds, Jesus Christ sacrificed. So you and me, you don't have to sacrifice any of the animals or even own ourselves. But Jesus Christ has sacrificed all this. So when we look at the cross, instead of sorrow, we should have happiness. Instead of death, we should see hope. Because unless Jesus Christ died, we cannot have eternal life. We will be dead. So that is what Jesus Christ wants us to see. We look cross in only one sense. But for us, cross should be something very, very different. Let us turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 18. What is cross to you and to me? For the message of the cross is foolishness for to those who are perishing. But to us who are being saved is the power of God. So now tell me, as a believer, how should we see the cross? The power of God. It is our hope. It is our victory. It is our joy. It is the only thing that gives us the eternal salvation. It is the only thing that connects us to God. Apostle Paul says, cross is my glory. Our glory is the cross. Because without cross, there is no chance for you and for me to connect with God. So that is what is important for us to understand. Cross means death and punishment. Yes, that is true. But Jesus Christ has now put the cross in a separate way. So cross means so many other things. Let us look at Luke's Gospel, chapter 9. So how should we take the cross? That is what is important. So what does this cross mean in your life and my life? What does this cross mean in your life and my life? So Jesus Christ says in Luke's Gospel, chapter 9, verse 23. Luke's Gospel, chapter 9, verse 23. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily. So what do? Every Sunday we'll take up the cross. Every once in a while we'll remember the cross. But the Bible clearly says, Jesus Christ, you have to take up the cross daily. Every day of our life, we should have that cross in our life. What does this cross mean? Cross means not having a cross in your neck or your earring or somewhere in your house. Many people have these crosses. But the most important thing that Jesus Christ is talking about is our life. Our life should reflect cross. So as I said, denying yourself is an inside activity. But cross is an outward testimony. You know, when Jesus Christ was living in this world, people were following him. He was popular. I'm not saying that he was not unpopular. There were thousands of people who were following him. But when Jesus Christ gone up the cross, the entire world came to know about Jesus. Did you see the difference? So when the inside activity is denying, but outside testimony is what taking up your cross means. Now the question is, how is your cross in front of your roommates? How is your cross in front of your neighbors, your classmates at uni, or maybe the colleagues that you hang out with? What do they think of you? So that is what is important. So outward testimony is what is cross meant. How are you sacrificing things to be united with the victory of cross, to be united with the joy of cross? But if you look like cross as a punishment, you will never be able to take up the cross. But if you look cross as your only hope in life, if you look at cross as your joy, if you look cross as your eternal salvation, If you look cross as the one that gives you happiness, and if you look cross as that is the only purpose of my life, then every day you would love to take up your cross. But many times we as Christians feel there's more pain than Jesus Christ carrying his cross. Simple thing. If we want to stop saying bad words with our mouth, oh Anna, I'm trying, I can't control. If you just want to sacrifice simple things, maybe to attend a prayer meeting or Bible study, to sacrifice something, maybe a cricket match or something, oh, it's so painful. Where is your testimony? You who are calling yourself as a Christian, as a disciple. Christian means following Christ. Christ-like means that is what discipleship means. Jesus Christ says, you cannot be my disciple if you are denying, if you can't deny and you can't take up your cross every single day of your life. Let us look at Luke's Gospel, chapter 9, verse 24. Yes. So, what does cross mean? Losing our life. Losing our life. Means there's so many. We are going to look at some practical examples shortly. Losing our life. So, what did we learn? Cross means is not a wooden beam or a gold cross on your neck or you're somewhere in your house. Cross means fulfilling God's will in your life. That is what cross means. It is the calling and the purpose of your life. So to be a true disciple of Jesus Christ, we should be fulfilling the will of God in our life. That is what our outward testimony is. There are so many examples in the Bible. Abraham was living his life happily, and at 75 years of age, God has promised he will have a son. At 100 years of age, he had a son. And then there came a cross in his life. What is that cross? God said, you will sacrifice Isaac for me. So he was ready. He said, Lord, nothing, not my son, not my inheritance, not my generations. It is you, Lord, first in my life. So what did he do? He went and he sacrificed. He was ready to sacrifice, and God has caused a substitute. There's so many people in the Bible that you come across. And Joseph was living alone, and he had this temptation to have an illegal sex. And what did he remember? He sacrificed it. He sacrificed it for the sake of Jesus Christ. He said, I give priority to my God, not for this momentary enjoyment. So many people in the world. There are bad examples as well. We know Samson. He had a cross, but he failed. God has a purpose for him. He is called as a judge of Israel. God's plan is he was holy from his birth. He is a Nazirite, but he has failed his purpose in his life. There's so many things the Bible has. There is a prophet called Balaam. What did he do? I don't know how many of you know about this prophet. He has took bribe from the king in order to curse the Israelites. That's why in 1 Peter chapter 2 it says, not like the prophet Balaam. So many things we can come across in our life. But let us, because of the lack of time, I just want to say, what does it mean? So now we understand what is cross. Cross means we have to take it up daily. Cross means it's an outward testimony. Cross means fulfilling God's will in our life. Cross means to know your calling and fulfilling that in your life. That is exactly what Jesus Christ did. When Jesus Christ came into this world, he has known what is God's will and he has fulfilled. Now coming to the taking up the cross. What is taking up means? Taking up means practical application of this in your life. So now we know what is cross. Now we know which cross to bear, not other person's cross. We are very good at pointing out other crosses. That person did like this person did like this. But when it comes to our cross, we don't know what cross we have to carry. So that's why Jesus Christ was very clear. You have to take your own cross and then follow. So what is taking up means? Taking up means so many things. That is where the practical application points come. So where can you apply cross in your life? I just want you to answer before I start telling the answer. So where can you apply? సిలువని ఎక్కడెక్కడ మనము లైఫ్లో అప్లై చేసుకోవచ్చు. Where can you apply cross in your life? Any example? Say that again. Daily, yes, that's told. Practical. We'll just tell to day-to-day examples now. That's all theory. Now practical. Where can you apply? Okay, yeah, good point. Yeah, the moment we want to read Bible, what will come? Sleep. Phone call will come. Some other work will remember. So that's when we have to put a cross. Because our cross is not sadness. Our cross is full of joy. Our cross is victory. That's what I want you to remember. Because when we think of cross, we look at death, punishment, sorrow. That is not at all what Jesus Christ has taken off. Now cross is foolishness to those who don't believe, but it is the power of God for those who believe. If you really believe cross in your life, it gives you power in your life. It gives you power to overcome the temptation of not reading the Bible and read the Bible and to have the joy. Any other examples? Yeah, decision making. So many times we have to have this every day in our life. That is why decisions don't come only once in a while. Every single moment of our life we'll need to make decisions. Any other ones? Yes, we are struggling to tell where can we have. Then that is what Apostle Paul says. It is a struggle between flesh and spirit. Any other things? Standing for truth. Yes, truth and lies. It's very easy to tell a lie and get away from a situation. But it is taking up the cross to tell a truth and suffer the consequences. Particularly in our workplaces. If we did a mistake, we'll simply tell a lie and get over it. But what we need to understand, taking up the cross, saying, yes, I will stand for Jesus. Jesus gave me the victory over a lie. And I don't want to lose the joy of cross because of this silly lie. So many things. Okay, so I just want to summarize in few points. I think there are 7 points I wanted to share. Number 1, the first thing that Jesus Christ did when on the cross, what did he do? He said, Lord, forgive these people who don't know what they're doing. That is the first step we have to do for taking up our cross. We need to forgive those people who hurt us. We need to forgive them who talk bad about us. We have to forgive those people who are talking very bad about us. That is what Jesus Christ said on the Sermon on the Mount. Let us turn to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, verse 30. Matthew chapter 5, verse 38. You have heard, it was said, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Kanti kannu pandi. That is our normal life. If anybody says anything against us, that's it. Let us take the cricket bat and go against them. Yeah, so many times I receive, Anna, they are talking about me as if we are the celebrity. Okay? So they are all talking about me. I am not happy. So we don't, how can I stop people talking about you? Need to, it's our own cross. It's our own cross. I can't stop anybody's go and close their mouths. So people will talk because you are giving them an opportunity. Why don't we correct the problem instead of correcting what the consequences are? So it says, and it says in verse 39, if I say unto you, you resist not the evil, whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. If somebody hits you, have some patience and let them do what they want to do. Because that is what Jesus Christ did. And it says, if any man will sue you, let him take away thy coat also. And that's why it says in verse 46, very, very important verse. If you love them which love you, what reward have you? Do not even the publicans do the same? So నిన్ను ప్రేమించే వారిని నువ్వు ప్రేమిస్తే అసలు where is the cross? Everybody in the world is doing it. That is not cross. Cross is separate to the entire world. If you love the people whom you love, you are not even a Christian, you are just a normal human being. But the real Christian is if you start loving people who hate you, who talk bad about you, who are making fun of you behind, knowing that and still loving them, is what Jesus Christ did on the cross. He said, Lord, forgive them for they don't know what they are doing. వీరేం చేస్తున్నారు తెలియదు ప్రభు. That is what cross means. I don't know who is giving you hurt in your life. I don't know how people are talking about you. You can go in the concept of eye for eye, tooth for tooth. That is being a world. You are not a disciple. You are not showing the love of God. Bearing cross means having that patience. Having that patience. And then saying, God, I am ready to bear this consequence. Lord, I am ready to bear this cross. That is what cross means. Cross means just going and having an argument. Cross means not telling of people to be quiet in terms of persecution. That is what cross means. That is what shows you what real cross means. When you are quiet, when you are enduring, then you will understand what Jesus Christ went through on the cross. He did no sin. He didn't do any mistake, but yet he remained silent. Just like a lamb which is silent in front of a shearer. So where they cut off the hair, how a lamb is quiet. That is how quiet he is. Do you know why? Jesus wants to set an example to you and for me. Those who are called Christians, those who are called disciples, we need to learn from our example, Jesus Christ. We need to forgive them who hurt you. The second thing is, by going on the cross, he is showing humbleness. You know, the people around him, he says, if you are the Son of God, first save yourself, then save us. But what did Jesus do? He didn't do anything. He was humbling himself. That is what we don't have. Can one person read Philippians chapter 2? Only one person. Chapter 2 verse 3. Not everybody needs to take up the Bible. Philippians chapter 2 verse 3. Philippians. In humility, value others above yourself. So we have to value each one of us above others. That's when we'll have humility and humbleness. So taking up the cross, number one, means to forgive those who give you hurt. Just that topic itself is a big topic. I'm going very, very quick. You know, to forgive means to forgive others who are causing pain in your life. You will, the Bible says, by kindness, you will reap coals of fire on their head. You know, by being kind, you will change their life. By being kind, you will not prevent the blessings God will want to give you. So the second thing is to be humble. By taking up the cross means let others be greater than you. That is what we need to learn. You know, we all say in the church, Anna and Akka. What does that mean? Doesn't mean just older in age. It means you are spiritually better than me. Value others better than more than yourself. That is the second one. Day-to-day example. What is the third thing? He is to let go of what we are saying. Let go of all the worldly fun for the sake of Jesus Christ. Not every time. I'm not saying don't watch cricket or don't play cricket or don't watch football. Or I'm not saying all those things. But when it comes to Bible study or prayer meeting, maybe your own Bible reading time, are you willing to let go of the worldly fun for a moment to be able to come to take up the cross of Jesus Christ? When you sacrifice that and be in the God's presence, then you come and ask me, Anna, I'm doing all these things. Then you will never say I'm lacking in these things. Because God is a rewarder of those who does things. God himself said, let not the reward be taken away from those who work. do not muzzle up the ox. Means, what does that mean? It means if there is somebody who is following, taking up the cross, you will see, last week also we looked in Luke's gospel, you will see the rewards in this lifetime also. Simple things, small sacrifice, but it's not even a sacrifice. That's what I'm trying to tell. That cross is not a sacrifice. You are trading, that's a beautiful song, you are trading my sorrows for the joy of the Lord. You are trading them. You are trading your little fun time on Sunday morning. You are trading your job, maybe a financial benefit. You are trading something, but much more better thing. Because what you are reaping is for eternity. What you are losing is just a temporary thing. So, the other thing aspect is to suffer or to lose some benefits. It might be financial benefit or a position or a status in your workplace or somewhere else. Because for the sake of Jesus Christ. Sometimes you might get money in a wrong way. When you say no to it, to be able to live for Jesus. And then come and ask me how blessed your life will be. Same thing in your life. You know, thankfully not in this country, but in India, people have given up their reservations for the sake of Jesus Christ. People have given up their financial status to follow Jesus Christ. That is an outward testimony. That is what the blessings are. So this is what cross means. Cross means just not having some cross in your house. Cross means to be able to see the joy of the cross God has put to us. Cross means that they are able to see the victory God has given to us. So that is what real cross means. And then there's so many other practical examples. We can look at marriage. You know, so many times we compromise in marriage. Not only in marrying somebody, in married life. How are you treating your husband and your wife? Let us turn to Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, 23. I'm going to read. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Verse 25. Husbands, love your wife, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So, having cross in a married life is a key for a long lasting marriage. Because this is not there, many worldly marriages are ending up in divorce. Having that cross in the married life. If you see here, following the Bible, having the cross means following the Bible. What does the Bible say? The husband should love just like Christ, to be ready to die for. What is the wife's duty is? To respect their husband and the decisions. It doesn't say that, I will take the decisions. That is having worldly way. That is what the Bible teaches. You can say whatever things you can, but taking up the cross is humbling yourself. The husbands also has to humble themselves in order to love. Loving comes with patience, endurance, giving another opportunity after opportunities. So we need to have cross in every aspect of our life. And finally, cross is converting your test into a testimony. So there's so many tests in our life, but God is saying we need to have that, convert that into testimony. Converting our test into testimony. So can you see that how cross can be applied in every aspect of our life? Cross can be applied when you have to do your project work. Dissertation. What the world do? They will pay and give somebody else. But what does the Bible teach? It is better for you to fail an exam than to cheat. Because you are not cheating anybody. You are cheating God. Don't think that the punishment will go off. God will reward you appropriately. So that is every aspect of your life. What you are doing, the words that you are using, how you are using your money, how the money is coming into your account, how is your behavior, How are your words? That is what cross comes in. Not just on Sunday morning when you take up the Bible. Don't try to act in front of your husband or your wife or the church or me. Your actions mean nothing to Jesus. They are like filthy rags. So that is what true cross is. If you are like this, then all the blessings in the what God has planned for you will be there. So what did Jesus Christ's name is now? Because Jesus Christ took that lonely journey to the cross, his name is worshipped above all names. So yesterday we went to Stevens Grammar School in Lancaster, and I came to know a lot about it. It's a 500-year-old school. There's so many people who won Nobel Prizes, and there is a person who have invented the name dinosaur, who comes from Lancaster Grammar School, and they were Olympic gold medalists. So they wrote the names on the each step, whoever has from 1600, 1500, 1700 and all. And the last step, they left their name empty. It says your name can be here. So the question is the same thing on the cross. Do you want your name to be on the cross, or do you want to just leave Jesus Christ there and you want to sit on the throne? So one day a Sunday school child was asked a question. In a room there is a cross and a chair. Where would Jesus be? He said immediately, cross. That's done. Jesus is on the throne now. You should be on the cross, not Jesus. If you are still seeing Jesus on the cross, you are not a real Christian. You should be on the cross, because the joy he has provided, the world cannot provide. Just imagine your life without Jesus. Just imagine your life for a second. Without God, without any help from you, from God. Whether you believe in him or not, he still loves you. Because he brings rain both on good and bad. You might be deceiving your parents. You might be acting in front of your husband. You might be acting in front of your wife or your children. But God still loves you. So the question now is, before we take part in the Lord's table, are you taking up the cross daily? So people should be able to know that you belong to Jesus. If there is no outward testimony, then I'm afraid to say you are not a Christian. You might have a Christian name. You might have a cross on your neck or your earrings or in your home. But God says, I don't know you, you workers of iniquity. That is what God says. So with these few thoughts, let us close our eyes. Let us look to the Lord. It's not my job to judge you. God is asking you to judge, examine yourself. Let us bend our knees. If you can, kneel down. Please spend some time in silence before we take part.